So thanks for coming. This is Hero That is the show we are going to talk today. This is a show that's being produced in real time. And the little girl you see on the screen is Meow. It's our main character. It's a 3-year-old. And let me introduce first a little bit about myself. I'm Nathalie Martinez. I'm a producer and a director. So that goes forward. Don't ask me technical questions. I'm not a tech person. If you expect a tech chat, it's not this one, okay? I'm just a producer. I freaked out today when I saw this because I realized that I put 20 plus years of experience, and I've been saying 15 years for 5 years now. So I had to change it, and I realized how old I am. I'm sorry. I'm depressed today, so I'm gonna try to cheer you up while I'm depressed. So I'm a producer and also director now. I've been working in live action part of my career. And as a live action producer, which is the most interesting thing that you should pay attention to about my bio, the rest is all, you can find it everywhere in LinkedIn and stuff, is that as a live action producer, I'm used to the immediacy of things happening before my eyes. Like in a live action shooting, you go, you put your actors there, you put your backgrounds there, you have your lights on, and then you shoot, and that's it. Of course, you can go and have then a nice post-production, especially these days when we have so much hybrid movies and you can do fantastic things. But the main thing that you need to know about your shot is already there. So that doesn't happen in animation, as you well know. I'm wondering if this is what it pushed me to try Unity in the first place. And this is our studio. I have a studio, an animation studio in Spain. It's based in Valencia, wonderful place. If you don't know, you have to come visit. And this is part of the team, not all the team, but part of the team that work in this show, Hero That. The studio goes back for 5-6 years now. We started as a different studio with a different partnership. And since 2017, we are Wisely Studios now. And these are part of the guys that decide, to push forward with me this Unity thing, and they experience the pains and the gains of doing so. Anyway, so the idea of the show, let me explain it a little bit. It's a very simple show. It's a preschool show. It's a very simple setup. It's a dad that comes home after work and decides to play with his little daughter. He has a 3-year-old daughter, and to entertain her and teach her the lesson of the day, he's gonna get dressed up as a superhero. But he's a homemade superhero. He's a superhero with kitchen gloves and rain boots and a Speedo. And one thing that is very interesting about, oh, here it is. Okay, this is our dad, our Hero Dad. I don't know if you know, but at the end of the show, you need to be able to reproduce this dancing here. So get ready, memorize it. He loves doing spectacular entrances like this. But anyway, so it's a silent show. So it travels very well, and it's having a lot of success so far. The characters have you seen, I mean, if you think that Hero That can dance very well, wait until you see him falling. He falls even better. So that's bringing a lot of comedy to the show. And well, our little characters, they are only 4 characters. It's the girl and the dad, and the 2 little pets that also brings a lot of different jokes around the teaching moment that every episode has in it. So before telling anything more about the show, I'm gonna show you the title sequence so you know how it looks, right? And bear in mind that everything you're gonna see on the screen right now is being done with Unity and in real time, okay? So it's not what you expect to see, maybe. Well, you'll watch it first. We'll talk about See how well he falls? Well, the structure of the show is really easy, and I want to tell you a little bit about this so you understand how we there to get into, a new pipeline with Unity without even thinking about it. It's a very simple structure. It's always the same structure. We have a presentation of the problem, exploration of the problem. Then she's going to have a thinking moment when she decides what's the best solution for the issue of the day. And then they're going to have a farewell and a celebration. Okay? But the good thing of this show is that it's just these 4 characters and 5 environments. And out of these 5 environments, we only use 1 per episode, which makes it easy from a productorial, point of view, and allow us to think and say, hey, maybe we could have some time left, which is something not really common in animation, to try to explore some new tools. We had been listening a lot, hearing a lot about, Unity and real time, and we decided to give it a try based on this quite easy structure. So as a producer, and if there is any other producer in the room will know, this is how it usually looks, a production workflow to us. It's a sequential kind of work. It's a linear kind of work. Every department works and delivers some work that's going to be, it's going to be his or its output and the input of the next department. It's always, you don't move forward until you have your previous phase completely approved and logged, because that's really dangerous. I mean, if you need to, or if you think about making any change forward in the process, you're gonna have to destroy part of the job that other teams have done, and so you're gonna have to spend more money and time consuming redoing all this stuff. So this is how it usually looks like. You have the pre-production, process, production, and post-production. This is the 3 big, moments in a production workflow. Inside of each one of these phases, you have different departments working overlap, generally, just because we need to avoid this, this process where, several things are open in different departments. That cannot happen in animation. Workflow, in the regular one. And so you have also, this structure of people that is overseeing the process through all the production. And this is how it looked like now. It's more beautiful, not just because I'm using more colors on the screen, but also because of the circular kind of a structure. I could have put it in a very, technical way, but I love to do it this way so you can see how, things are like around all over the place. Basically, the process starts as every single productorial process with the story department, where you have the scripts and you have the storyboards and the animatics. And when you have all part of this job done, then the art department and also the modeling department, and as well as also, the rig department can start their work, as every single production does, right? This is all the part of the work that you do in the pre-production process. But we also have, if you can see below, what we call Unity pre-production. And it's because in this show, what we did is everything related to lighting and to shading is already done in Unity. So the only thing of the pre-production that we do for the characters in other softwares is the textures, really. So we use, depending, it could be Maya, could be Substance or other softwares. But then all the shading and the lighting is already done in Unity. So since the very first step of the production, we have all included in Unity, and we are able to see, to watch what's going to be the final image, the final characters, how they're going to look, how they're going to reflect, and everything. And so afterwards, we move to what is, I think, the real deal here. That is that these 3 departments that should work in a linear way, we should start with previs and layout department and staging and environment setup, and then we will go, once all the shots are logged there, we will move them to animation, and then they will animate there, and then all these shots, when they are logged, they will move to the lighting department, right? This is the regular or the traditional pipeline. Now all this work is happening at the same time. In our studio, these 3 departments are working completely overlapped, in parallel, so that's not happening anymore. So what we do is, what we start the shots in previs, we set all the scene, we send the shots to animation. The animation department is the only one that's not working inside Unity. If you were attending the previous talk, they explained that moving animation, especially in a show like ours that has a lot of stretch and squat and a lot of physical comedy, is very hard to be animated in Unity. So we still need to go to Maya to animate that, and we import and export animation from Maya through Alembic files. So all this thing is happening at the same time. Previous layout department and lighting department are working exactly in the same file. It's not that they are working at the same time. They are working in the same file, in the same project. So they have access all the time to everything at the same time. So that is a process of changing your mind that you need to do. It's very useful creatively speaking, and also from a production point of view, because you are able to work on every aspect since the beginning and not have to have iterations, unnecessary iterations, by redoing stuff that is not what you like. So this is what we, oh, sorry about that. And then, of course, we have the editorial and the compositing part of the workflow, which is, we don't do compositing, really. It's all done in Unity, and we don't touch almost anything. But we have some 2D effects, and also some, alpha channel images that we need to compo. But it's really about putting layers on top of others on editorial. So we don't use any compositing kind of software. So, yeah. So I'm tired of speaking because English is not my language. So I'm gonna torture your ears now, and you're gonna listen speaking Spanish in the background with some Spaniard dubbing on the top. And I'm gonna introduce you to my team. These are the real deal, how I call them, because they are the ones that really decide to move forward and put everything that we needed there. The pains, as I say, and the gains as well, but especially the pains at the beginning to move forward with that. This is their own experience, and I want you to hear it from their words with a dubbing woman. Sorry.
This is clearly the future, and it requires a new production model. Traditional animation workflow has always been linear. One department starts and finishes, then the next one starts, and so on. But now all departments can work in parallel. As soon as we have our first CGI models, the lighting department can start working right away, as well as the previs and layout department, who can see the actual final lighting of the scene. And at the same time, the animators are already animating too, while the camera can continue to be adjusted throughout the processes needed. Plus, the animators can virtually instantly see what the final shot will look like when rendered, instead of having to wait for weeks. So you certainly need to rethink your workflow in this real-time scenario, but this is infinitely more practical, and just plain faster, particularly for the lighting department. Exactly. We realized this almost immediately in the production department. Before, the first thing we asked when we got to the studio in the morning was, how did the render go last night? Are there any technical issues, lighting issues? But these problems don't exist anymore. Now, when an artist renders a scene, it's delivered instantly. This is an amazing innovation. Same with last-minute takes that can be fixed and adjusted in a couple of minutes. You can change the cameras, and you immediately have the final result, which is the most important thing. One of the challenges we faced when started working with Unity was to understand how the software handles the creation of shots when we work sequentially, and to develop the tools to optimize the work tasks down to 3 mouse clicks, basically. And one of the huge advantages is that since all the teams work on a single project simultaneously, it's very easy for everyone to access the most recent version of everything in the project. The lighting, props, and all scene elements are continuously updated. Even better, right before rendering, even with the lighting work all final and completed, we can still change the camera angles and whatever else is needed to get a perfect shot. The biggest challenge we found when shifting to a new render engine like Unity was to achieve a totally different look. Video game products tend to have a more realistic look, with very direct lights. Usually, they don't explore the softer aspects of lighting. Shadows are usually hard, so our challenge was to turn them into way softer shadows. We needed to avoid sharp, visually aggressive shadows because this is a preschool show. We had to work very thoroughly with the light and color gradients, and we also worked very hard on getting indirect lighting, which doesn't really exist in the video games world. So we had to fake it to achieve a final image that didn't have too much contrast. In the loop dev department, we create all the lighting for the scene before sending it to lighting production. What we achieve here is a final image approved by the directors. And once approved, we just render the full scene once before handing it over to the lighting production team. In the lighting department, once we receive the approved scene with the baked lights, and also the Olympic files with the animation coming from Maya, we proceed to adjust the lights for every individual shot. The advantage of this workflow compared to traditional pipelines is that working in real time allows us to change the lighting at any time during the process. As you can see here, this is 100% real time, and we can adjust the lights as we like at any time. We can also work with the color correction tools, do some compositing, adjust towards a warmer or colder light, white balance. We always keep the capacity of changing elements in the scene at all times, right in the moment. And when we are done with the work, we just hit play and record the scene. That's it. The main challenge we found in the technical department when working with Unity was integrating the standard animation pipeline of a studio that was already up and running, working in the traditional way, with a pipeline that initially wasn't meant for these tasks, but for video games. We had to create a set of tools to export the layout data, which we work on Unity, so the animators could work with them on Maya. But also we had to do it the opposite way, transferring all the animation data from Maya to Unity, mainly through Olympic files. And this is just one example. So this has been really the main challenge, creating the tools to adapt our traditional animation workflow to Unity, a real-time engine that initially is not dedicated for animation, but is clearly going to become a multidisciplinary tool for both video games, animation, and engineering.
Well, that's it. These are just part of the team, part of the leads in every one of the teams that we have. One of the things that we realized when we tried to change to do that shift on the pipeline as we did is some resistance from the team, and that's something that any producer trying to introduce these new technologies in their studios are going to find, because you have all these people that are seniors in their respective areas of expertise that now need to relearn tools and start from scratch. They have all the knowledge what they want to, how they could achieve this in other softwares, but now they have all these new tools that they need to be able to reproduce what they knew to do, like in a click, and now they have all this new environment that they need to learn how to move around. And as you can see, the learning process has been tough. At the beginning, one of the things that we wanted to avoid is our show to look like a video game, which was the easiest way to go. We wanted, as one of the seniors, the look dev supervisor was explaining, we wanted these soft shadows, softer gradients, and everything. We want our show for kids to be soft and catchy and also fun and gummy. So achieving this kind of look was one of the biggest challenges, I guess. And at the beginning, as you can see, we had images more sharpy in any way. The colors were still not, gradient. The shadows were still too hard. We start playing with the depth of field, and we used the fog system in Unity, but we weren't really achieving what we wanted. Everything looked too aggressive visually. And when we finally got to places where say, okay, that's more or less there, that can be the path we need keep going and explore, still need some tweaking, but can be there, then we would put the characters in the scene and they look like crazy things. I don't know. It's like they live in different worlds. And so we were focusing on the background without having into account that the, Unity work the lights into different aspects. One is the dynamic lights, and the other one are the fixed one, the baked ones. So all the backgrounds are baked, and you render that once at the beginning of the production. And all the characters that are, all the moving parts, like props, characters, and other stuff, have dynamic lights. At the beginning, we were having issues because some of these shadows from both, worlds were overlapping or multiplying, and it took us a little while to fix. Oh, or even here, how Spider-Man has a, darker version of him? She is our dark Meow. Sometimes she comes up. We call it Meow's cousin. We don't know her name, but sometimes it still pops up. Well, we got this weirdness sometimes until we find finally the look that we were wanting to achieve. What's that? Sorry. Oh, yeah, that's a note that I put for myself. And then I said, you know what? It's cute. Let's leave it there. Try, fail, learn, repeat until you succeed. The only way to not succeed is stop trying. So I would say keep doing it. For us, I think the fortune ended up favoring us because we were bold enough or crazy enough, depends on who you ask. And now I'm going to tell you a little anecdote that I love to tell. So give you a better, real, tangent sense of what working with Unity means for us as producer and also as creators. For those of you that doesn't know what Annecy is like the Cannes Festival of Animation. So everybody is there, and they have a huge market too. So I was bringing this show for the first time to the market, and I was aiming to buy it, sell it to buyers, and also finding more financing for the next seasons. And I had my super perfect, nice pitch already ready, and the only thing I was missing was one of the episodes. This episode in particular is Wow's. Wow's is the character of the dog, Wow's birthday. And it's a really funny episode. It came out really nicely and said, okay, let's show this one to the buyers. And I'm sure they're gonna fall in love with the show and they're gonna buy it. Okay, so I'm ready, I'm driving. That's another long story. I was driving from my hometown to Annecy. That's 12-hour ride. Call me crazy. And when I was 2 hours from the festival, they sent me the link, say, hey, so the episode is already finished. You have it on your Vimeo. Go check. And my co-director was in Spain, and he said, everything is ready. The sound is ready, everything. So I go to Vimeo. I was, in a gas station. I can still remember the moment. And I watched the whole show. I say, oh, it came out really nicely at the end. It's going to be a success, I guess. And I said, wait a moment. So the wait a moment, I'm going to save it for you. Just put a pin in there. I'm going to tell you a little bit. It's Wow's birthday. So Meow, or little girl, and Tua, the cockatoo, they are trying to help Dad to build a nice decoration, okay? All in this show is about, teamwork, let's say. So they start building these 2 columns of balloons, different colors, and at the end, they're gonna realize that working together, they're gonna achieve a better decoration, okay? I'm explaining this because I just did a sneak peek in the episode, so you probably don't understand anything, because it's just, cut and paste for 40 seconds. I don't wanna show a 5 minutes full episode of preschool. And so, yeah, they're displaying there. It's gonna happen. Okay. They run out of balloons, and so they decide to steal from each other. Bad decision. So she has her thinking moment. I'm not gonna put it all there. And at the end, they decide to gather together, work together, and build a nicer decoration. Guess what? If we just do an art, it's gonna be prettier. Fantastic. And so then we're gonna have the dog coming into the room, super happy. He's gonna blow the candle, and everybody's gonna celebrate, right? Fantastic. So I guess some of you realize what happened. At the beginning, I didn't. And my whole team skipped it too, which is concerning. But the fact is that I was so happy with the episode until I said, wait a minute, and the wait a minute is this. Remember which color was its color at the beginning? They are flipped. So that was the very last shot of the show. I was there driving through my buyers, with the show. Say, this is not the first impression you want a buyer to have for you. Like, hey, I cannot deliver a right color show. Like, messing with green and pink. It's like, you don't want them to think that about you. So I panicked instantly. Like, oh my gosh, that's gonna be such a terrifying situation. And I called my co-director, Maxi Valero in Spain, and said, look what happened. He was flipping out as well. And I said, okay, let me just fix it. Don't worry. And what I'm gonna play now is the fix. So that's not real time because it's a video, but this is the real time it took to fix the issue, right? So as you can see, still real time. They went there, select the different objects. Change the color, change the materials. This one is gonna be green. It was green, right? I don't know. I don't wanna know. Somebody's gonna get fired if I find out. The problem with that is that a whole team was doing the technical review of the episode and nobody realized. And that's a preschool show. Imagine something. No, anyway, they are nice. And that's it. Hit play and record. That's all the time it took. They just, changed the shot in editorial. 20 minutes later, I had my episode ready and corrected on my Vimeo. Now imagine this would have happened in the old times, and I like to call it old times, so it's still happening, with a traditional pipeline. This shot could have taken, a week to render, and then present it. I mean, I couldn't have a tendency and do my, work there. So let's play the final image. Imagine that now it's again flipped. But you have the sound here. They made it. So that was my Annecy trip. But it gives you a really clear idea of what we are, doing now with real time and all the capabilities that you can find. Things like what I show you is not only the only thing you can get from it. You can get a lot about creatively. You can, as directors, because I'm a director too in the show, or even if you are facing executives that want to give you input or notes, the good thing is that they can watch at what's going to be the final output of the image all the time since the beginning. So you can react to things that you like or you don't like, or even, you can improve any kind of issue that you can find or quality that you can achieve since the beginning, because you are able to watch it since the beginning. Also, there's a very important part of this is the collaboration among the team. As the team is always working in the same scene, they, before, in the old times, as I like to say, the teams were locked. They work inside a team. The layout team worked together. The animation team worked together. The lighting team worked together, but they don't communicate too much or as much between them. To a point that in a previous production that we did, we used to have what we call the Friday quick show or something like that. So every team could see what other teams were working on, and they feel this engagement as a team in the same product, in the same production. So this here happens organically because they are working in the same file, in the same project. Even the animators that are not on Unity can just, get up, go to their mate's computer and see the shot that they just animated render. And they can, almost in real time, improve their job or make changes or bring more to the creative process. Also, the lighting, render, and compositing department is no more the last one that is working. They start working at the beginning, which is a big relief for them, how they are See, if you go into an animation studio and you see somebody with red eyes, probably he belongs to the lighting, render, and compositing team, because they are the last ones. They usually run out of time, so they need to stress their work and work fast and achieve a huge quality, and all the issues, pop there. So that's not happening anymore. So they are now happy people. They come work with Hawaiian shirts most of the time. And but also, once they set up all the lighting, they can keep improving that at the same time that the animation team is working. So it's going in parallel, and they have more time to improve, so you can achieve a higher quality. And from a productorial point of view, this schedule is way faster. If you remember this Gantt that I put at the beginning, it was 14 months. These were our estimations at the beginning of the show when we were planning to do it in our traditional pipeline. And it was around 14 months to produce 26 episodes of 5 minutes, right? So now we are producing the same 26 episodes of 5 minutes in 12 months. But bear in mind that the first 5 months were just for the pilot. So we did all our research, our R&D at the beginning, and that took us 5 months. 5 painful months. But at the end, we are producing the rest of the show in 7 months. That means we are producing 25 episodes of 5 minutes in 7 months, which is a great improvement in time, in schedule and time and production time. Also, the team is smaller. One of the things that is happening is that, remember, as the layout team I was telling you before is now in control of everything previously layout. We call previous layout, we can call it something else, because actually they are taking the task from many other teams. They do part of the editorial, they do the staging, they do the scene combo, they do a little bit everything because they are working in the final scene. So a smaller team is in control of all these little things that before were through at least 3 departments that I can think of at the top of my head. So that's gonna reduce the number of people. It's gonna also be able to free other artists faster so they can work in other departments or in other projects. And it's also saving money. And so we saw that my last estimates is that for this production, we are saving around 20 to 30%. It's more like in 27 right now of the production cost. So producers in the room, you're welcome. You should be taking a look to this, okay? It's not only that. It's not only that you're saving money. It's that you're gonna be making money earlier anyway. Because of the reduction of the time of production, you can have your product hit the market faster. And that means that you're gonna start having revenues way before. And also that all the assets that you're using are already in Unity, so are completely ready to go to any other, products like video games, apps, spin-offs for TV, other shows, whatever. So that's a huge improvement for all, these moving parts that we have now in the market for when you develop an AP. And that said, well, that's what I can tell you from my experience. Oh, here he is again. He loves doing spectacular entrances, I would say encourage your team. It's worth trying. I think real time, after our experience, I think real time is the future. And as I'm saying there, the future is already here. And it's here to stay. It's not going to go away. We still do some other works at the studio. We do production services for clients and also for other IPs that we already had in production when we started this. And it looks like going backwards when we need to start calculating again, So that's 24 frames per second, and it's gonna take us like 3 years to render. Oh, cool, that's gonna, So that's no more like this. I used to tell an anecdote the first time we rendered, because you cannot really call it render anymore, but the first time we rendered a shot on Unity, and the very first one, I was like eager to know, so how long it's gonna take? And they came to my office and they said, we got it. I said, so what? 7 seconds. 7 seconds per frame? That's awesome. I said, no, 7 seconds per second. No, you're kidding me. And that was it. And there was a moment where, we didn't optimize the scene, was our first setup, it was really crappy. Now we are rendering 8K, and it's taking us 1.5 seconds per second. So that's impressive. That's what you can achieve without, losing quality. And that's all, I guess. Yeah, that's our contact information in case, you want to look for us or for the show. You can follow up and on the social media, or remember the dance I told you at the beginning? Are you ready? Did you memorize it? I was expecting you to dance, but okay. So if you have questions, just don't shoot the producer. I'm not a tech person. I already announced that. So if you have questions, technical questions, contact us by any of these, means, and we'll be happy to respond. And if you have any questions now, I'm here for that. Oh, okay. Fine. He's asking, I must to repeat the question because it's being recorded, so you're not on mic. He's asking if the show has connections with Pocoyo. No, but well seen. I mean, it's a reference. Pocoyo, it started as a Spanish production, and the creator is a Spanish guy, good friend of mine, by the way. And he somehow set up a style that we wanted to follow because it's been really successful. There's more other shows that looks like that, especially the style of animation, well picked. It's very close to Pocoyo, yeah, because we really love this show and we like to homage it. Sorry, say again. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, she's asking if the assembly of the show is done mainly in Unity or in the editorial process. We do both. We set up in Unity, and we are able to watch it all there, but the final editing is done so we still export shot by shot and reassembly on the editorial, but just because we want. We could do it all in Unity, actually. But we do it there also because we have some 2D elements that we want to introduce in the show, and we need, to go there anyway. So, we do it because we are used to, but we could skip it very easily and do it 100% in Unity. It was okay. Hi. Thanks.
So when you were deciding to switch to Unity, did you find that you had to hire certain developers or Unity developers to come in and actually sort of teach your team how to get something in Unity? What were the type of people you hired, and how long were they in your team? Are they still on your team?
Okay, he's asking about when we decide to do this shift, if we hire special, developers that were, well, it's not easy to find people that has experience in both Unity and animation, that I can tell you already. The first contact we had in our studio with Unity was an app that we developed, an AR app for another project. And so we have some developers that were already working with us as 3D, TDs, 3D, CGI TDs. That's come from my Spanish. And so they were, they liked Unity and they studied on their own and they had some knowledge about it. And so they were the ones to push us and say, hey, why don't we try and we do this app? And I say, okay, cool. So we did the app worked very well. And so that was our first approach. And once we started the show, they were still there and they say, why if we, and I'm just like this. Every time you say, why if, I say, why not? And we went for it. But they were already there. The truth is that all the other departments, other than the technicians and the developers, all the other departments, they had to go through a learning process because it's not, our look dev supervisor, he's, a super expert senior artist on whatever software you would mention, the traditional way, Maya or Substance or Nuke or all of them, but never touched Unity at all. So now he has to transport all these skills that he has and start using them on Unity, and that's a learning process. He doesn't know the tools. So it's not only that we needed developers, we needed people teaching our artists how to navigate through Unity. And it's been a challenging experience. Yeah, 5 months, but it was worth it at the end. And now they are so happy. I don't think they want to go backwards either. Yeah. Yeah, he's asking once we import the animation from Maya, right, into Unity, if Unity acts like a theater, basically, that can. Yeah, this is one of the things that makes really, really immediate about Unity, about retakes and about stuff. When we import the animation into the scene that we already set up, so we set up the scene and we stage the cameras, and then we export these cameras to the animators, and they work on the animation on Maya, and then we import it back. But we import the animation, not the cameras. The cameras are already set up in Unity. But the fact is that if we change our mind and we want to, change the camera angle, we can do it immediately with the same animation that we just imported. So that's something that for creators, it's really mind-blowing, because you can rethink stuff once the animation is already done and say, okay, I think that's going to work better from here. Or as one of my fellows and partners that is in the room here, Jamie, you say it's like shooting and having infinite coverage. So you can do that. Unity allows you to do that in real time. Any other questions? Yeah.
How the sales been of Hero Dad, and what are your plans for the future, more Hero Dad and other projects?
Yeah, well, one of the things that Unity opened to us is that now we are being approached by a lot of different companies that know that we already did this process and they want to, try with their product. So we are, on the one side, we are having a lot of connections with other companies that want to probably hire the studio to do their own shows. And on the other side, we're still working with our own IPs. And we also have other plans that I cannot tell you about it right now, but I hope they can tell soon, bigger plans. But regarding Hero Dad, it's going really well. I mean, the show was a universal success with every buyer at Annecy. And so we got a lot of offers, and we are now working on closing some of these deals. But one of the things that also Unity is bringing to the table is that we got financing only for the first 26 fives. If you know a little bit the market, 26 fives is a small package. Usually when you go to 5 minutes episodes, you need to go higher, like 104 episodes, something like that. So they want to take it anyway as a distribution company, they want to pick it up anyway, because they know that we can produce so fast that by the time they're going to be, broadcasting this, we're going to be able to deliver the rest of it. So that's something that without Unity we couldn't do, and now we can. And that's that we are done. And sorry, I think we don't have time for one more question, right? Okay. So thank you very much. We appreciate your presence here.